Welcome all on this webinar, Transition of Textile Industry to Embrace Circularity. My name is Dr. Shahuduzaman, Assistant Professor and the Secretary of Pakistan Circular Textile Platform that is developed to enhance the circularity awareness in Pakistan textile market. So on the behalf of National Textile University and Pakistan Circular Textile Platform team, I want to thank you all to be a part of this webinar. Hopefully, we will learn so many things from Mr. Uday. I also want to express my gratitude to Mr. Uday Gill for sparing time from his schedule and allow us to benefit from his knowledge and experience. Mr. Gill is having experience of more than 40 years working at different management positions. He is a Chief Strategy Officer at Indorama Ventures Limited, Bangkok, Thailand. He has been on board of 3 listed companies, 14 non-listed and 2 non-profit organizations. Board member and executive director of Indorama Ventures Limited, a $15 billion listed company on Stock Exchange of Thailand. Member of the Sustainability Risk Management Committee of the company. Member of Indorama Management Committee and apex executive body of the group. As a group chief strategy officer at Indora, he organized corporate transformation functions, including ESG, digital solutions, lean business systems, business continuity, and risk management with a clear focus on decarbonization, circularity, lean gap assessment, value stream mapping, and so on. In prior role as a CEO of Fibers at Indora, Uday's visionary business acumen and expertise in building new profitable business platforms for long-term success, he built from scratch a new $4.5 billion global specialty fibers business serving hygiene, automotive, and lifestyle applications near the consumption centers spread over 52 sites in 23 countries in last decade. So far, this was the short introduction. Of course, we don't have so much time to explain all. So for the audience, you can post your question in the question and answer tab during the webinar, and we will try to answer as much as possible if we have the time. So over to Mr. Uday, and best of luck. Thank you.
Um, Thank you, everyone. I'm so pleased to be on this call with all of you. Assalamu alaikum और हम आपके सबकी खैर मांगते हैं. And to this is a very well-known subject to people of Faisalabad because you are the hub of textiles, not only of today, but for centuries back. Your and you have developed so much of beautiful textiles and created so much of innovation. I believe that me talking to you about textiles will be like showing the lamp to the sun. You, all of you know this subject very profusely, I must say that. But let's share our notes between us. So the need of the hour is certainly circularity. And why circularity? Our generation, I must blame myself first and our earlier generation as well. Our behavior towards nature has not been very kind. We have been exploiting the nature for our pleasures and for our benefits and for our good. So we have been exploiting and we have been very resource heavy. We've been doing things which were not in line with nature. That's the reason a lot of solutions that we found over time have become our own problems. We found that oil and gas was the perfect way to generate energy, which has today become the biggest problem on the earth. We found that plastics may be the best solution for textiles, and that has become the biggest problem for us today. So we have been working in a linear fashion. The linearity is that we dig the earth, we exploit the resources, create products, use them, and throw them, and again start the same process. It's a linear process. Whereas our forefathers, who lived very close to the nature, knew about the circularity. They always used, reused, and also used materials that were biodegradable and less heavy on the resources. So if we continue this lifestyle, we will end up exploiting the nature. And nature is something that doesn't speak, but it comes and expresses itself in its own way, like floods, droughts, and many other manifestations. So we have to learn how to live with nature. That's basically what I believe. And our lust for our own happiness or our own feel good is going to impact not only us, but also our next generation. So we owe to the next generation, we have to protect their future. So the entire blame is on the last two generations, which have spanned over almost 100 years, including all of us and myself. Next, please. So in this talk, I'll cover what are the consequences of human actions, what who owns this textile value chain. We need to cultivate a new mindset for nature positive solutions. And what is the way forward? And where is the real home of circular textiles? Next, please. I'm just bringing you back to our behavior. Human behavior is not aligned to protect nature. We only have one earth. We don't have more than one earth. So the human consumption is cannot be sustainable at these rates. If after this is a data which I'll try to make it simple. So if everybody on this earth lived like an average Pakistan resident who has an income of $1,500 a year per capita, he needs nearly 1.8 hectares of land and ocean, what do you call it, overall space on this earth for its food requirements. So if we do that, still at this level of the way average Pakistan person is living, we can still have 6.3 billion people on this earth, and we need almost one earth or 1.1 earth. If but everybody has to live in the same manner and the intensity at which an average Pakistan resident is living. Whereas if I compare the consumption of average Pakistan person with United States, for example, A US citizen on an average is consuming 11 times, not 11 times, sorry, about to about 6 times more. And if we have to live also the same way as an American citizen, we will need seven earths, seven earths, and we don't have that luxury. And the second question is, why should we be deprived of all that luxuries that the Western countries are enjoying at our cost? On an average, if I take the whole world, still needs today two earths because the bio necessity per capita is 3.1. And sustainable population on this earth can only be 3 points. Only half the people can live on this earth if we go by the average of the world. So you can imagine that we cannot continue with this trend. Do we need seven earths to enjoy this affluence? Do we really need to be so resource heavy? We have to question ourselves. We had crossed next we had crossed the biocapacity of the earth in 1985 as a human race. All the ecological surplus that we enjoyed was finished at 1985. The earth could not give us more. And now we are moved into an ecological deficit in which humans are surviving but not in a healthy manner. So that is the reason we are suffering, and because of our lifestyle is such that we are consuming more. So there is a challenge of balancing the resource utilization with prosperity. Prosperity at what cost? And whose prosperity? So many developing areas also need to improve their lifestyle. But if they do, they will put further pressure and load on the resources. So the world has to rebalance itself. We have to consume more rationally. I'm not against consumption. I don't say that we should be frugal, but we should be less resource heavy. We should be resource light. We should be circular. There are better ways to live with less energy and less resource needs. So we have to totally revisit the way we live as a world, as a humanity. Not just, we can't blame the poor countries, nor we can blame the rich countries, but that is how we have evolved. So as one single unit, Earth belongs to all of us, and we have to be more balanced and using the resources more efficiently than just wasting them. Next. So if I show you this, the unintended consequences of human actions, that is hard to be seen. We don't come to know. At current resource use models, only half the people can sustainably live on the earth, which we had the real number we passed 50 to 40 years back. If you see this green and red map, the consumption of natural resources which have to be kept preserved is increasing, and the consumption of renewable resources as a proportion to that is decreasing. If this trend goes on, we will not be able to live peacefully on this earth. So what I earlier said, what seemed to be efficient way to produce energy has led to huge climate change. Efficient supply chains have created inequity and rise of populist policies. When we are creating this affluence out in a unjustified manner. Some people are getting rich and some people are getting very, very poor, which is causing inequity between the rich and the poor. And that inequity results in change of the governments, change of the politics. So it is the governments that have to correct the course. But if they become stable due to these matters, we will not be able to meet this agenda. And all the theories that the market price has got all the factors in it. Some of you maybe may have read economics. The old theory that price includes everything in it, the entire value in it has been proven wrong. We do not include in our price the cost of the nature. We do not include into the price the cost or the damage that we are making to the nature. So we are actually taking the benefit from the nature. So this will result in the glaciers melting. This will result into fires. You have recently witnessed the glacier melt in Pakistan, resulting in 20 million people becoming homeless. This fire is a picture of California in US. Do not say that only we are suffering. Americans are suffering. The whole of California gets fires like this every year. So this is all exploitation. Next. So someone is paying the price for human behavior. These species are getting extinct. From 1800 to 2030, nearly 6,000 species have become extinct. Such a beautiful world we used to have. At least most of you are young people. At least I have seen this kind of nature when I was a young boy, 60 years back. I had seen all these birds and animals, beautiful landscape. So extinction rate is over 100x of the natural rate. 30 to 50% of the species may be extinct by 2050 if we go the way we are going. I remember having seen those fireflies. I don't know anybody has seen the fireflies these days. I've seen those fireflies used to lit the evening. There used to be no lights. There was no electricity. I used to walk outside in the evening, see fireflies. So consumption growth based on non-renewable resources and continued climate change would create huge issues for the humanity. As the human population is going up, these species are getting extinct. You can see very clearly these two red and black lines. Next, please. Next. So humans have already started facing the consequences. Air quality has become bad. Clean water is not available. 700 plus children die a day from diarrhea worldwide. Fourth leading cause of premature deaths is a bad air quality. 91% of the world's population lives in places where air pollution exceeds WHO safe limits. And unpredictability of the consequences of these natural events is exponentially increasing. We will not know how nature will talk back to us. Next. Next. Little bit about how greenhouse gases and forest have crossed each other. The corner left. We have done it. We've destroyed the forests and got the greenhouse gases in reply. And on the right side, you can see the economic prosperity and what is happening. I've given some pictures of Pakistan, the flooding you have seen recently, the girls and boys going to school in Lahore, and the droughts. Still, textile can still serve the world in some of the areas which are causes of death. Air pollution can be controlled by textile fibers, by filtration. Unsafe water sources can be helped by better filtration methods. Textile can be very usefully used for protecting ourselves and the planet. Next. So I I could see that Pakistan has done a lot of efforts and is conscious of its environment degradation, and they have initiated a air quality index. So therefore, I'm happy that some effort have started. It's never late. You can imagine the air quality difference. Japan is 9.8 against ours 60. We are inhaling poison. Singapore is 11.8. Hong Kong is 15. But these are all small countries. But air quality is very, very important. I was hearing on CNBC about 20 years back that there will be no livable city in the world. And that guy said if there will be any left in Asia will be Singapore possibly. So we will not be left with any livable places in the world. So time has come. I'm happy that Pakistan government has taken up this air challenge. I hope next time we meet, this number of 59 will fall to 9. And this is to be done collectively. We cannot blame the government. Nobody can blame the government. Nobody can blame the plastic. Nobody can blame the oil. It is our own behavior. Next. I'm happy that when I came to know that I'm going to speak to an audience in Faisalabad, I thought I should read about Islam. So I went and Googled about what is the connection between Islam and environment. I was so pleased that at the click of a button, I could get this up on my screen. According to Islam, the essential elements of nature, earth, water, fire, forests, and light, belong to all living things. Some of the other religions say it only belongs to humans. Islam is far ahead, saying it belongs to all the living things and not only to the human race. So if we are exploiting, we are actually taking away somebody else's legitimate share. Islam emphasizes on importance of preserving the environment and protecting the natural resources and asks every human being to do so. I don't think there can be a better message than this to the human race. I was so deeply impressed. Then I went and read my own religion. There also I could find something similar, very close. It has gone to even put the relationship between the air, water, land, earth, and the day and night. I'll speak to you later in detail later, but I could see that because my religion is also inspired by partly by Islam. Next. So, how do we continue Pakistan's surge in exports and sustainability? I can't come and tell you that you stop exporting, you stop stop fashion, you stop doing things and go back to forest. I can't ask that. But how do we continue this sustainably? You have a massive program. You are one of the largest textile exporters in the world. And I think the Pakistan's economy and its labor force depends almost 10% of its GDP and 40% of its workforce is in textiles. You cannot ignore this business. So if you can't ignore this business, how do we make it a opportunity? Next, fast fashion. We can see that fast fashion is another phenomena which is causing a lot of environmental problem because people are buying every week there is a new collection. In China, there is a new collection every day. So every week there's a new collection, people wear it, throw it. But I'm not against fast fashion. Fast fashion creates economic activity. It creates jobs. As long as we can recycle them, as long as we can make it circular. So should we moderate? I'm not in favor of reducing the consumption. I'm in favor of making it circular. Moderate on the nature, not moderate on ourselves. Be moderate on the nature. So next generation wants to have the thrill. They want to have fast fashion, but we have to teach them to be more circular. Rather, actually, if we want to really learn about sustainability, I think we should go and talk to our children. They will tell us better than us. Next, I am seeing a increasing trend in Muslim fashion, and this will continue for the next 20 years or so at a very fast rate. I have experienced this in Indonesia. I have lived in Indonesia for 15 years. There is a Jakarta fashion show every year. And Islamic or Muslim fashion is going to be the trend setter. But we have to make sure that it should be sustainable and circular. We can show to the world how sustainable and circular can we be. And believe me, area near Faisalabad and your the whole country knows textiles. You have best of the best artisans. You have best of the best minds. So we have to create a new textile world, a new mindset. Next. So I just wanted to repeat here again. I said that reducing consumption is not the answer. Next. Just to give you an example, in 2008 financial crisis, only the economy contracted by 2.5%. But this led to 34 million employment in 1 year against the previous year. 64 million people were pushed below the poverty line. 1 trillion loss in economic activity. So if we think we can reduce consumption, we will end up in huge economic losses. But again, continue consumption, but be circular. Be modest to the environment. Be modest to the earth. Be modest to the resources. Use less for more. Use less for more. Not use, and throw. Next. So it's heartening, like Pakistan has done. Other countries have also made commitments and companies. US want to be 50% reduce carbon neutral by 50% by 30. EU, China, Apple want to be carbon neutral, Unilever, Amazon. Similarly, climate tech is leading. There are a lot of tech companies which are coming. $14.2 billion funding in VCs, venture capitalists. So a lot of new investment is going on to be carbon neutral. And Pakistan also should encourage the new startups which are climate tech. And all the corporations should make their commitments for 2030 and 2050. Next. I could see that Pakistan has a 2021 commitment to reduce the emissions by 50% by 2030. But I could further read that if at current rate, what has been committed by 2030, only we will achieve 57.7% of that. So we have to ramp up. Next. And Pakistan has also made a ambition of net zero by 2050. This is excellent. Cutting energy, recycling, circular economy. What I'm saying is all written there, all committed. Cut water through treatment, better climate, zero discharge. And 18 textile and apparel companies have given the commitment. That's very, very encouraging. But are there only 18 textile companies in Pakistan? There are a lot more. So we have to encourage everybody. And every human has to start looking at what is his carbon footprint. Next. Now coming back, this was a little bit about nature and textile and a little bit of Pakistan. So how do we make the traditional sustainable textiles to and compare it with modern day resource heavy consumption? How do we make these worthy of nature? How do we make our textiles worthy of nature? And how do we make it green? Next. And textile is such a industry. I don't know about Pakistan. In India, it happened. It started in Calcutta. No, it started in Dhaka, Calcutta, then came to Kanpur, Lucknow to Mumbai to Gujarat to now Coimbatore, and now to Bhopal. Textile actually moves. And worldwide, it started in British, went to Japan, went to China, and now it is going around Bangladesh, Vietnam, Myanmar, Turkey, Morocco, Belarus, Bulgaria, Mexico, El Salvador. Textile industry gravitates to low cost locations. Maybe it has happened in Pakistan also. I'm not sure about it. But it does go to places where there is cheap labor. So, but the places where the labor is cheap are also the places where the regulation is low. That is a disaster. It the textile industry goes to cheaper such places where they can dump all the chemicals into the rivers, where they can put all the waste into the rivers. So low cost also correlates with low regulation. So we have to enhance regulation, which is impacting the biodiversity, human equity, and marine life. So secondly, the carbon emissions do not respect the natural boundaries. If you are having a glacier melting, it's not because of your emissions. It is because of the emissions from other countries, which may be coming from China or elsewhere or Europe. So it has to be across the world. Next. So I want to know who owns it. Everybody owns it, the whole world. So what happens? Unintended consequences of globally complex change. We, textile industry, 10% of emissions, 20% of global water pollution, 35% of microplastics, and just delivering 2% of GDP. So who will transform this industry? Next. I think I talked about fast fashion. Fast fashion today, nearly 100 million tons are going into the pit. And even if we reduce the recycling, increase the recycling by 10%, even then 116 million will go into the dump, landfill. Nearly 30% of the clothes that go to the exported from Asia to US, they never sell. It's overproduction. I want to also share with you, particularly the Pakistan business model. You are also producing to sell. When you produce to sell, you actually don't sell the whole thing. A lot of it goes waste. We have to change this model of commodity selling. We make, stock it, then prices go up and down, we lose money, then we dump it somewhere and never sells. So we have to change the mindset. Next. So most of the pollution is happening where the product is manufactured. 75% of the pollution happens in fiber production, yarn, and textile. End of the life is only 1% and consumption is 24. So total 25%. So if the Europeans and Americans are consuming textiles, there the pollution is 25%. We are at manufacturing stage 75%. That's the reason this industry has been pushed down and down our throat. But without knowing that the pollution does not respect boundaries. But still we are manufacturing. So this short-lived economic prosperity causes long-term repercussions. So we have to clean our manufacturing process. They have done their job. Next. Worldwide, I must say that there is a lot of efforts going on. These are the foundations, Ellen MacArthur, Fashion for Good. You must have heard all of them, Textile Exchange. There's a lot of visible commitment, but the scale and speed is still not there. Everybody is going and making the commitment. 2030, 2050, half, finished, done, net zero. If I ask somebody to give me, disclose what has he done today, until today, hardly anything. So there has to be not only a commitment, but also disclosure. Next. This is a very interesting chart that you should try to understand, spend some more time. I'm not sure in Pakistan you are also converting plastic bottles to textiles. Certainly in other countries it is. The plastic bottle manufacturers have made their commitment that they will be using 40, 50, 25, 30% of the plastic bottles back to bottle. Whereas the textile people have also said we will convert these bottles into textiles. But ultimately, both have to meet their targets. There will be no bottles left. If this is the answer of the textile industry, it's wrong. We have to convert our own fabrics into fabric. There has to be like to like recycling. We cannot piggyback the bottles. We have to recycle the fabrics. So this data This presentation will remain with you. You can share it across your members. So just sharing this data will take me long time otherwise to go through it. You can keep this whole presentation. So like to like recycling is only less than 1%. So there's a huge scope for industry like Pakistan to go for garment to garment recycling or even refurbishing the garment. You buy the old garments, take the old garment, bring them to pristine condition, sell it back to others. So much can be done. Next. And we have to design the products for next life, not for this life. So, so what will be the new idea for textiles circularity in 2030? Or it'll be more of the same? Looks like as of now it is more of the same. But we have to bring the designers and brands together, industry together, social platforms. Innovation is very important, which you guys will do, and the policymakers. They all have to work together to create a textile policy of 2030. Otherwise, it will be just targets. There's a race for making targets. Every country is making a target. And on that 2030 day, you will see nothing. So there has to be a concerted effort, collaboration. And these solutions have to be double stitched. Next. I will not stop here. You can read these things that there is what we want. We want regulation or we want innovation. Europe has imposed a $150 per ton on plastics and also imposed a carbon tax. Now they're talking about taxing the imported textiles. For Pakistan, it has to be very important that the imported textiles from Pakistan into Europe will have difficulty to go through the regulatory systems. The policy is already under preparation. So what we want to do? We want to wait for the regulation or should we innovate? I think the institutions like yours should be innovating, investing money on innovation to bring new materials, create recycling technologies. All are doing. EU has done a lot. California has done a lot. China is doing. So what I'm trying to say is please push innovation first before regulation catches up with you. Next. There are a lot of organizations that are rewarding the startups who are innovative. These are 4 or 5 names that I came across. Excellent jobs they're doing. Mango material is turning methane into biodegradable fibers. This natural fiber is welding tandem repeat technologies in California. Wearable, another biodegradable fiber. And Pangaea MTIX is reducing the microfiber generation. There will be new business model. For you as a university or industry, I'm recommending that you should give free membership to all your knowledge platforms to the startups. Do not charge the startups for any fees or your journals or anything. I am on the board of ITMF. We have recently taken a decision to allow all startups to be free members. I am on the board of Biotech's Future in Germany, a university called Aachen, where we are developing about 20 projects which are all biomaterials. Young PhD students. We are working on algae to create nylon out of algae. It's called algae tex. Algae is the most efficient organism on the earth that captures carbon from water and air and converts it into protein and starch. We have to come up with that kind of innovative solutions. We have already produced a nylon yarn from algae, microalgae, in collaboration with Adidas. When I say we, I don't mean my company. I mean Biotech's Future, which is a German initiative. Next. This is Biotech's Future. I'm on the board of this. This is a $500 million project funded by German ministry and Adidas. They are making algae tax, then biobase, biocoat, bioturf, Tegratex, gold. This gold is amazing, but I don't think this is scalable, but this is an interesting idea. This is the inner lining of the cow's intestine, which goldsmith used to make that work. I don't know, you understand work? That gold foil. The gold foil that the beaters, it's it's called beater's skin. That gold fire that the goldsmith makes, they use this cow's intestine lining, which is one of the most uh, durable material, and it does not allow any oxygen to go through it. Like these Germans are doing this kind of research. I was like quite amazed. So these are the few examples of biotech's future. And maybe you are already in touch with Akhan, but if not, you should. Next, next. Then there are a lot of others which are also working on. Collaboration is the key. You cannot solve your problems of this world by sitting alone in Faisalabad. You have to go out to the world, set up collaborations, work with them, bring knowledge home, and make your country beautiful. Next. These are all other innovative companies. Lensing is doing a great job. They must be doing something in your country as well. All around cellulosic fibers. Spinova is a very amazing company. You should learn about it. Hike, I just met them last week. Excellent on recycling. Next. You go through these things later. The paper will stay with you. Born again. This Ritech is another technology which I like. So I'm leaving these names. You can Google them, reach them, contact them. My idea was to give you something, some leads. Aquafil is another recycling company in Europe who is collecting the fisherman's nets and converting them to nylon. Spiber is another one. Sislo is another one. They're making biomaterials. So create platforms. Work with the world outside you. Bring in technology to speed up research. You have to speed up your research. You cannot do the research their own way. Bring digital technologies to speed up the innovation. Next. So, what do we need as a solution? There are so many, I listed about 20, 25 of them. There's so many small things people are doing here and there. You must be doing a lot of them. But these small little things will not move the needle. What we need is a global, overarching, high impact, scalable program, which has to be integrated, coordinated, fully governed, right technology, and proper behavior of the social behavior, habit forming behavior. And the next two thing is the top talent. You need the top of the top talent to do these things. Do not send the most useless person on a new project. Send the most talented people into these to find the solutions. There will be talent wars in the world. Do not lose talent. I really feel pity that countries like India and Pakistan, they feel proud that their engineers or doctors are doing well in USA. It's a pity. We are losing talent. We have to keep the talent. There will be fight for talent in the world. And then we have to respond very quickly. Next. So where is the real home of circular textiles? I think this era of exporting textiles to Europe and US might be a short window. They will have to recycle their textiles, and you will have to recycle your textiles. Or you collaborate with them, you sell them, bring it back, recycle, go back. So what you need is for circularity, you have to first develop the infrastructure. Go and look at rehubs in Europe. Develop the infrastructure, how to collect the garments. Create small supply chains. Deploy automation and machine learning. You cannot segregate textiles manually. You need machine learning. You need automation. And the last thing is influence the consumer behavior. In your university, you should have a full department of communication and consumer behavior education. Without that, we cannot have a sustainable world. Next. This is what is happening in advanced economies. Europe has commissioned McKinsey that can they scale up recycling in Europe. McKinsey is telling them you will create 15,000 jobs, spend about $7 billion, and you will have a profitable recycling business in Europe. ITMF study also shows that against China, Europe is about 20-30% labor cost high, which can be made up by automation in terms of net productivity. Next. There will be new business models which are emerging in Europe, which is local, smart, multi-prod, customized. At the moment, we are in the first model, offshoring, scale up, export to the world. The second is building up, smaller, specialized in countries, smaller countries. I put Pakistan here, but not in the real sense. You're part of the first one. But mainly the countries are Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras. These are the small countries. But the real thing is smart manufacturing. And these are the technology companies who are working around it. So there'll be a new textile model emerging based around circularity. And there'll be new regulations coming up. Time is very short. And we have to collaborate. We can't do it by ourselves. Next. So what is to be done? Foster new mindset for circularity. Imperative to embrace circularity principles. So feedstocks, new feedstocks, shorter supply chains, recycling infrastructure. And then there is possibly a model which will be more nature positive. Emergence of a new model based on recycled and biomaterials as feedstocks. Proximity to sourcing from local, flexible, multi-product, mass customized, manufactured with a high level of automation and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So what machine learning will do, it will bridge the skill gap in the Western countries. and automatically bridge the wage gap. So what we have to do is to collaborate with the Western countries and engage in their circularity programs, or you create your own markets. Next, I was just thinking that this is such a big problem of glaciers are melting, floods are coming, people are dying. Why the world is not able to do it? We could fix the COVID in 2 years. If we could fix the COVID, why can't we fix the climate in the same period? We have not been able to fix the climate over the last 100 years. Continuously, this blue curve is going up, whereas we have beaten down this red curve. So, if we want climate change, biodiversity, circularity, there has to be huge sense of urgency in our minds, in our governments, in social media. I think more than anything else, it is the society, it is the human behavior that needs to be changed than anything else. That's my personal thinking. Human behavior. You should have a every university should have a department of human behavior change, behavioral change. Next. So these are few things I've listed. Basically, embrace circularity to encourage localization of supply chains, modernize the textile manufacturing through automation, digital, deploy machine learning, AI, mandatory like to like, not just bottle to textile, like to like, mandatory. Associations should invite startups, universities, research institutes, address microfiber generation, invest in innovation and technology first, come out with new materials which are green, gain trust of the consumer. Consumer doesn't trust the industry, whatever we say. We have to gain trust of the consumer and a greater sense of urgency. So if we want to successfully transition from resource-heavy textile model to new, light, and high impact circular, we have to adopt circular principles. We have to more innovative, more nature positive, more resolute, and fair, and end-to-end collaborative. Next. Next. We as Indorama, we are a $15 billion company based in Thailand, 144 sites worldwide, 35 countries. We have committed to invest $9.5 billion on circularity. We already have invested 1.5 million tons of recycling. We are the largest bottle resin producer. We are the largest automobile airbag fabric producer. We are the second largest tire cord producer. We are the largest baby diaper fiber and fabric producer in the world. So we are committing $9.5 billion, which is very small contribution, but we have to do a lot more. All have to work together. No single company can deliver. Next. Next, please. Wish you all a pristine future. I want to look the nature like this along with you. And it is 12 o'clock, yes, or 11 o'clock your time. I could complete in 1 hour.